we can't wait to be a $1 billion team, not because Greg's going to get all of this press or whatever. Vest is going to get it. Everybody will then collectively succeed together. Attitude and work ethic. We look for the best-in-class attitude. We'll look for the best-in-class work ethic. Those are the things we cannot teach people.
Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Remington Ramsey. We have officially passed top 5%. We are in the top 5% nationally of podcasts, not just real estate podcasts, but all podcasts globally. Thank you for sharing the show. Thank you for listening or downloading and not listening. As long as you download, we do not care. But if you're going to listen, you might as well listen to Grigory Pekarsky from the Chicago market, originally from Moscow. Only for 4 years, but still, that's 4 years longer than I have. With the first snow falling today, I'm really feeling it. What do you love, Grigory, Greg for short, about the Chicago market?
Well, first off, Remington, thank you for having me on. Congratulations. Now my palms are sweaty knowing about how popular this podcast is. So be on the show. That is a huge feat, man. Chicago is, I love to say that everybody has a home here. Right. It's the most welcoming, right? We're the Midwest. We're welcoming first and foremost. But when it comes to price points, when it comes to taste, not just in food, but in real estate, we got it all for everybody. So we are the every man, every woman's city. So when somebody, even if you're the biggest hater on Chicago,
yeah,
you'll leave loving it.
I love it. He's more than a Chicago apologist. Greg is one of the largest teams volume-wise, going to do about $300 million this year, and he's on a mission by 2027 to be the first $1 billion team. Those are cool numbers, but I think the number that I think is most impactful and what people would want to hear about the most is your average dollar per head is $15 million per agent, because you hear about these teams that do big volume of numbers, and it's usually one or two agents at the top, and the other ones are either struggling or new. They're not hitting those numbers. So we definitely want to dig into how your team is so successful. Before we get to that, the question I asked you right before we started is, what's a controversial idea that you have that most people disagree with? And I thought your answer was fantastic, because this is definitely going against the norm. I said that. You said Chicago is the best big city to invest in. And that is controversial. A lot of people would argue taxes, infrastructure, political landscape. I lived near Chicago. I went to school at Olivet, so I know Chicago a little bit better than most. And it's only a 3-hour drive. We have family that lives there. And there was a time where it felt like the narrative was that people were actually leaving Chicago to go to states where they could afford it more. But you're here saying out of the big cities, Chicago is the best one to invest in. Why is that?
So when it comes to investment, right, well, you got to take first on potential for price growth, right? And then what does that city offer when it comes to professional services, parks, recreations, arts, all of that, right? When it like with those specific offerings, Chicago is unbeaten, right? When it comes, parks are amazing. We have the best food, period. Okay, so you want to talk about controversy? Chicago's got the best food in the world. Boom,
More than just the pizza.
The pizza's like, it's like, if you're really from Chicago, you don't even talk about the pizza. You go in on the specifications and all the different tastes.
Sure. Italian beef though.
What's that?
Italian beef though.
Italian beef. You got the starter pack of Chicago: Italian beef, Garrett's popcorn, pizza, and hot dog. Right? Like that's what you got.
That's
right. 77 unique neighborhoods. And when I say unique, truly unique, right? It offers a unique flavor and taste for everybody. Rent growth has been through the roof, while price growth has been statistically good, but nothing crazy, right? What happened during COVID is all of these coasts went crazy with their prices, but Chicago is steady Eddie. We've always kept our head on our shoulders. So when there's this massive pullback of all of these coasts, and people are like, wow, why did I spend $300,000 over that asking price? That was dumb. In Chicago, we definitely had bidding, we had wars and like all that stuff, but we consistently still grew at a 3 to 4 to 5% pace. And ever since COVID, Chicago still ranks in the best growth markets in the country, right? So when it comes to like, I see how, like when you buy a house, when I work with somebody, I see it as an investment. Somebody sees it as a home. I go, my job is to tell you how much money you're going to make when you come to me in 3 to 4 years, because you have price growth, right? There's not a lot of cities that can essentially almost guarantee that. But if you buy correctly and you know where to look for in Chicago, there's always opportunity. That's why I say that. And then the livability aspect, you can go out with your partner, you can enjoy a night out, and you're not going to go broke. It just offers so much.
Well, the passion that you have for your city, I imagine that translates for the passion that you have for your team. Is probably one of the reasons why your team has had so much success. Again, 300 million across 27 agents. Average price per head per agent is 15 mil. Those are very good numbers. And your company name is Vesta. What's the story behind Vesta?
The Greek goddess of home and hearth. So my dad read me Greek mythology growing up, and out of all the names that we were kind of playing around with when we started with, I just went back to my childhood, remember the good old times of reading stories with my pops, and Vesta just seemed like it was a cool name. It reminded me of my childhood, and it's got a good story to it.
Yeah,
it's pretty. It's got the nice characteristics. It's nice.
Yeah, if you're listening, you're not watching, check it out on YouTube. He's got a nice little sign. You went against Pekarsky Real Estate. You wanted to take your own name out of it.
Nope. So that's a really good point. The team is not me. I am the team, right? And it's really, really important because when people come here, they need to understand that we are here to boost people's individual businesses, and collectively we grow together. So the whole team is like, we can't wait to be a $1 billion team, not because Greg's going to get all of this press or whatever. Vesta's going to get it. Everybody will then collectively succeed together, right? And
so then everyone's thinking, hey, I want to be on Greg's team, but wait, only 3% of people make it into your team. So you have a pretty vigorous process to weed out people that either aren't a good fit, or maybe you think maybe can't hack it. What is the reason for such a small number of acceptance?
So it's very simple. We hire based off of 2 principles with a sub-principle at the end of it: attitude and work ethic. We look for the best-in-class attitude, and we'll look for the best-in-class work ethic. Those are the things we cannot teach people, right? We can teach people how to sell real estate. We can teach people how to gab on the phone, how to close business. But if you don't have the best-in-class attitude, best-in-class work ethic, we cannot get you to get to the next place that's going to help you push and push and push every single day. We call them MMAs, money-making activities. The last sub-principle is we need humility. We need people that are willing to leave their ego on the door and are ready to get coached and are ready to look at themselves in the mirror and say, I want to be the best version of myself, and I want to be coached, and I want to be in a team that will support me in that end. So finding those 3 principles all combined, it's not that I say no all the time. It's that it's very challenging to find this combo of factors that will work well in our system, because the only way that we bring someone on is when I can guarantee their success in my system. And not everybody likes to work in a high volume lead provided environment. Not everybody likes to work in a team environment or get coached and have oversight.
Okay, so you said 3 things. Work ethic was 1. What was 2 and 3?
Attitude and humility.
So here's my question. Work ethic is a really hard thing to judge when you're in the interview process. What questions do you ask, or how do you observe whether or not you believe their work ethic is up to the standard that you have?
Great question. So we've been doing this now. We started in 2009, right? We started actually in the luxury rental space. So we've failed so many different ways and hired in so many different incorrect ways that we now have almost a 6th sense when it comes to the feeling, right? We don't always get it right? But when it comes to the history, the background, what is it that you've been doing? I love people that are exclusively in rentals and they want to get into sales and they've been successful in rentals, right? That high volume capacity to be able to keep pushing, right? That is what we constantly look for. There's a lot of different things in people's backgrounds, the way that they are. My business partner loves athletes because they understand that mindset of constant push, constant getting bettering, right? And then if my business partner and we don't agree, it's a no hire. And it's very rare that we agree. So it's like this constant vetting process.
Oh, it's very rare that you do agree? Oh, wow. Okay. So that's a good indicator of why the
know that.
3%.
I'm like I spend all the time. I'm the recruiting front. I'm always talking to people. I get real excited, and then we're in there, and Brad says no, and I'm like, I'm gonna hit my head against the wall.
Okay, but again, so let me dig in a little bit more. So when I asked you how you know the work ethic, the first thing you said was like basically pointing to the history of their success. But again, you can have success on talent. How do you know that it was work ethic that got them that success? What questions are you asking and what answers are you looking for?
So here's a really good example. If somebody is, because we came from the rental side, if somebody's doing high volume in rentals and they're succeeding in it, there's certain things, certain characteristics that you have to be able to exhibit to be able to be successful in rentals. Organization, staying on top of people being likable, right? Having the ability, because in rentals to be successful and to make a career out of it is almost virtually impossible because it's such small numbers, right? So you have to do high volume, like 50, 20 contracts on a monthly basis to create some sort of really sustainable job. To be able to do 15 to 20 leases means you need to talk to hundreds of people on a monthly basis. So it's not just about the successes, but it's like, how do you stay organized? How do you work? Do you work in a CRM? How do you do any script play? Like how do you speak to people? Like all of these different things, when you've been doing it for as long as us, and we can feel this energy and this tenacity, and the answers will then give us the explanation of who they are at the core, and are they really willing to want to be successful, or are they just saying they want to be successful but they're not willing to put the work in?
Now you mentioned leads. I imagine that goes into it. So are we talking about purchase leads, Zillow leads, when you're handing over the business? Like that is one reason, if that's your business model, that I would assume if we're going to do a lot of the work for you, provide this for you, we don't want you to waste it. That's why we have the agents that we do. So am I on track so far?
Spot on.
So if you have a business based around handing over leads, if I'm Remington Realtor and I come to you and you hire me, you give me X amount of leads, I prove that I can close them. I assume you give me more. We work that out internally. What happens when I can start to convert my business to actually having a lot of repeat business? Is that just the cherry on top, or do I keep on supplementing leads so that instead of doing 15 mil, now I'm doing 30 mil, because not only am I servicing the leads you gave me, but also I'm having some repeat business? What does that look like?
So, man, there's a lot to unwind there. The way that we set up our business, it's all based around the way that Brad and I's individual businesses grow. In the beginning, all you want is money. I love money. Let's get it. Let's get after it. What do I got to do, right? And eventually, once you become really successful, the true success in real estate is freedom, time. Because that's what I experienced, right? I have my two daughters now are 6 and 3, and I just want to spend time with them on the weekend. But I don't want to take my time away from my business. So we've built this business around supporting us as the partners, as the top level people, that allows me to do open houses, individual showings, so that I am in the top 5% of most important activities, negotiations, and basically figuring out what the best piece of real estate is for them. When it comes to like my actual time, I don't need to be going around and seeing all these places with my people, because I've now trained my agents to be able to do that for me. So when I say all that is there's numerous levels of where we put people in regards to where they are in their careers. In the beginning, you can be a junior to try out for our team. The team wants to become partners. Partners get teams underneath them and associate brokers to help them get their time back. So it's ultimately what it is. It's a business in a box, because we know in the beginning, let's get you money, let's get you successful. But now, okay, you get engaged, you want to have a family, you want to get to the next level, but you don't want to lay off of your business. Okay, so now let's give you this business in a box strategy, which, by the way, I do all the hiring, we do all the training, we do all the system build out. We just need one thing that we cannot train people on: effort and energy, right? Mm-hmm. My whole promise is that we will give people more value than they bring into the company. It's a completely unique model, meaning I will always guarantee, from the systems, from the leads, from the accountability, you will be more productive with us than if you were anywhere else. Meaning that I will be investing more money in you. All I need is your effort back. So we collectively do $1 billion together. That all makes sense?
It does. It does. So let's talk about your partnership for a little bit. what is the reason why you would veto his hire or he would veto yours? You mentioned banging your head against the wall. I just spent all this time hiring this person and he says no. Why would he say no?
Because he's the one that spends the one-on-one times with them. Every single week, Brad meets with people on a 30-minute block and goes over their activities, and he looks over what they do, how they do it, and why they might not be succeeding in a way that they think, right? It's very particular coaching, right? It's got from attitude, behavior, technique. It's this whole internal Vesta process on accountability and success-based coaching. He spends 2 full days, about to be 3 days because of how many more brokers we got, doing that. So it's like, it's easy for me to be like, oh, that's so annoying. I spent all this time focusing on this person. But once they're here, I'm the Mr. Jokes, right? I make everybody laugh. Everybody enjoys. I'm the Mr. Guy. I'm the guy on the camera. Brad is in the trenches with them. And the things that are the most challenging is when somebody doesn't want the success.
So you're not banging your head against the wall because it's like, Brad won't let me do what I want to do. It's you're banging your head against the wall because you had hope in a person and he realized that hope was unfounded because of one thing or another.
It's like, I can't invest my time. My time is too valuable. And this person isn't worth the investment.
And so we're specifically talking about agents who not only have a track record of their previous career, but agents who are already agents of different brokerages. They come in and show you what they're doing on a daily basis in their own real estate business for a week or two or longer. And that's how he's able to identify. What about someone who's coming brand new into the industry? Does your team ever hire new people?
Yeah, so we've created a new position for those people. It's called junior brokers, and that's essentially the tryout. We give them the lower tier leads. We give them the hardest ones to convert.
It's very boiler room of you.
Oh, it's great. It's fantastic. But, we're not focusing on the results. I'm not like, if you don't sell 3 houses, you're out of here, right? It's here's 100 leads. I want to watch you do the activities consistently. And I want to see that when there's a 2% conversion ratio, if I give you 100 leads and 98 people spit in your face, I want you with a smile on your face to call the 99th person, speak eloquently, and convert them. That's attitude. That's what I want to see. I want to see if somebody's got an unbreakable attitude and a work ethic that they say, can I swear on this?
Nope. We'll bleep it out.
I don't care what it takes. I want to get that piece of business. You can imagine what I was going to say. But it's this test trial period of we know statistically, if you do these exact activities, you're going to be successful. But we cannot do those activities for you. So that is what we try to figure out is, are you able to do those activities consistently over a long period of time? And can you build that compound effect interest to be able to get yourself to the next level? That is how we get agents from 1 million in 1 year, before they came to us, to $11 million with us the first year with us. That has happened numerous times.
I love your team focus. I love what you're doing with your team. I want to talk a little bit about you now that you've seen the success that you've had with your team, and then obviously your numbers are very high. Do you take some of your focus away from the daily grind because you've been doing it for so long and put some of that effort into leveraging, let's say, a different industry or a side hustle to support agents? When you start to see success, do you double down on that success, or do you kind of hedge your bets with other stuff?
So when I told you that we failed numerous times is because I'm literally captain of, there's a red bird, and I start walking that way. Like, that is literally my personality.
Yeah.
And the whole beauty of failing is if you can learn from your fails, right? You can grow very quickly and be able to capture when you're starting to see that next level of success and not make the same mistakes. So this whole focus, I don't care about, I do anything else until we get to $1 billion, right? That means because there's growing from 130 million last year to 300 million this year, so many things of our internal systems have been broken, right? In the best ways. So I'm constantly tweaking, figuring out what is it that we need to do. My agents, as they level up from $2 to $3 million producers to $10 to $15 million producers, they're different types of brokers, right? They need different types of things, right? It's not that their egos get crazy. It's just that they need more support. They need better branding. They need better leadership, right? So I still lead the office in sales. I don't take a single online lead, right? I want to show them what is possible if they keep in touch with their clients, But then on top of that, I then double down and I keep looking for new markets for us to grow into so that we can get to that $1 mark. But I can't like stop the focus now. It's too good.
Well, what about investing specifically? Have you personally invested in real estate?
Yeah, for sure. Right. Like it's always been like an idea of ours to invest as well. But like when you go into property management and you own buildings and stuff, it's like your focuses and everything like that just completely gets crushed. And we're in such a good flow right now, my business partner and I, that we are really nervous to stop it. And I don't want to let my, not greed, but my ambition to outweigh the focus, right? Because if we can do this, if we can become $1 billion team, and we will, all of that will come. That's fine. Like that's going to happen. But what no one's ever done before is the $1 billion mark in Chicago in an individual entity. Next year, we're going to do 500 million. We're already going to break the no one's ever done this before mark. But then we're going to get to $1 billion. At that point, nothing else matters. We can invest in what we want. I want to be able to consistently give the promise of delivery of value to my agents. So that means putting in the right people, probably hiring a CEO in the next year or two, hiring the top-down management, so that when I do have the time, but not have to let my foot off the gas pedal here, that's when I'm going to start looking at the next stuff.
I don't know how to ask this question, but maybe if I just start talking, you'll understand what I'm trying to ask. You have a single agent and they are capped at their potential because they're a single agent. I don't know what that number is. Let's say in Chicago, you could be a single agent. What do you think the biggest number you can hit just as a single agent?
You're saying like without support, you don't even have anybody helping you with sales and stuff?
I mean, let's say you have like admin, but in terms of like the sales, like what's a range that you can hit just as a single agent?
I bet it becomes virtually impossible to pass 20.
How much?
20 mil.
20 mil. So you cap out at 20 mil. And let's say you could even hit 30. There's a bottleneck by which you have to duplicate yourself or change something to get past that 20 million. Then you start to grow a team. You decide I want to be a team. And then you start to get past 100, 200, 300. There's a certain number by which now you have to change something. I think most of us stop at that one. Your vision of hitting $1 billion, I'm guessing can't just be more people selling more houses. Like there has to be an infrastructure. There has to be, have you identified what the number one thing that will keep you from hitting $1 billion will be from right here and now at the 300 mark?
Yeah. It's people and listings, right? It is extremely difficult to hire, like I was mentioning before. And finding those people is very, very challenging. So making sure that we can, because we're anticipating, we thought we needed 100 people to hit $1 billion, but because it's so efficient individually, we actually need somewhere between 50 to 60, right? So we've actually stopped hiring for the next 3 to 4 months. We just had a class because we've also realized we felt this under delivery of our promise to our current setup, right? So like we're feeling like things are getting a little slippery, a little sloppy. So we're now taking a step back and like, let's tighten the ship up. Let's make sure everybody's good, right? And I say listings on the front end because we're really good on buys, but now we have to gather and get really good on listing side of things. Because to become $1 billion, you got to be probably 60-40, 60% buys, 40% sales. And we're a lot more on the buy side than on the list side right now, currently. So those would be the two things. When it comes to when somebody's like thinking about, should I start like my team or whatever, the biggest change for us, the thing that was the success factor here is we focused on value. Is that, can we over deliver on value to the team members that we bring on? That is the reason why they're part of the team. A lot of people want to be team because they get busy and they're like, hey, I need assistance. That's not a team member. You're just building assistance around your business. You're not going to better anybody. And those are the people that are calling their teams by the name, right? We were so strategic on calling it the Vesta team because individually we want to grow these brokers. And our whole setup is that we have partners, team brokers, juniors. So our whole thing is we want 10 partners doing 100 million each in their individual little teams, all sponsored underneath the Vesta umbrella. So it's like this mini like conglomerate operation that everybody is supported top and bottom up by us.
So then you hit your number, 1 billion. So what? It's just a number. What are we doing with that? Like, because we're all in sales. I'm in sales. Everyone listening to this is in sales, and you set a number. And when it's just you, or it's a smaller team, it's pretty easy to, well, I got to pay my bills, and then I'd like to give back a little bit, like to go on a vacation here and there. And then you start hitting big numbers. And if you don't have a reason for that money, it can actually almost get depressing, because it's just like, oh, I thought money would fix all these issues, and now just more money, more problems. You hit $1 billion. What is the mission statement? What is the vision for, if you do hit $1 billion, what are you going to do with that?
I'm not even thinking of that. And here's why. So like, you're absolutely spot on. In the beginning part of my career, all I wanted was money, 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 right? And I realized there's this one moment in time when I was talking to this broker that was like, probably double my sales. And I was like, wow, you did amazing. Like, how's it feel? He goes, I hate it. This guy has got this much more than me. And I'm like, whoa. Like, I'm thinking that this guy is my like North Star, and I'm going to be so happy when I get that. And I realized that is exactly the opposite. Money does not make you happy. So just real quick, one thing that I like to say at that point is I realized success and happiness are two separate things. You have to separate them, right? So I figured out what my happiness is, spending time with my family, my why. So I use my success to give me more of my happiness. So people can choose to be happy today, and they can find the success to give them more of their happiness, right? So all of that being said and done is that, and we are collectively creating the most ambitious team in real estate. I'm getting the most ambitious people together, and I'm letting them run wild with their dreams and supporting and sponsoring and making sure that they are the best version of themselves. I'm not saying the best version of a company. I'm saying the best version of their individual self. When you come here, you feel the culture of support, of the love, of the success. It's because everybody is not competing against anyone else except the person staring back at them in the mirror. It is a completely different culture here, right? So when it comes to what is next, it'll figure itself out. When you create a team of 60 of the most ambitious people in real estate, Greg, I want to do this in Florida. Great. Greg, I want to go to Maine. Fantastic. Greg, I want to go to Indy. No problem. Here's the turnkey model. You go do it, and let's go, and let's grow. That ambition, I've already had people be like, hey, can we do this here? Hey, can we do this there? Yes, when we're ready. I'm telling you, $1 billion, yes, it's this amazing goal, but it's really just, it's getting us and catapulting us to what we can achieve so that my agents, they already are at a level mentally that they never even imagined. So now let me just give them the opportunity to get to the next level, and they will tell me where we go.
Where do you draw your inspiration? What books are you reading? What podcasts are you listening to? How do you stay so motivated?
Yeah, man, it's like, I read here and there. It's like, Atomic Habits, all that stuff. There wasn't like anything that was like a aha moment outside of understanding to separate happiness and success. And my inspiration, honestly, is us finding the model that really works well through my business partner. He's really good at what he does, and I'm really, really good at what I do, right? And I love being in front of the camera. I love repping our brand. I love talking. I love meeting people, right? Brad is the opposite. He's internal. He loves coaching. He loves success-based stuff. So we meet every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5:45 in the morning. We touch base. We always talk about what we got to get going on. And just seeing my agents' lives change in front of me, right? When the conversations go from how do I make money to where and how do I invest all this money that I have, that alone is enough inspiration for me to be so dramatically happy with what we got going on here that at the end of the day, as long as like I'm home getting just completely run by all the women in my house from my 2 little girls and my wife, and just being the least influential person in my home, that to me is happiness right there. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't need much more. I'm good. My business partner and I are like, dude, if I make this amount of money moving forward for the rest of my life, I'm happy. We keep making more, but I'm not like I need more. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, you have a very positive perspective on real estate and your role in it. And that's where I would like to end, is just hope for the future. We've said it before, realtors and real estate got their teeth kicked in the last 12 months. There's been a lot of reasons for that. A lot of realtors and teams have figured it out regardless and keep trucking and have a smile while they do it. What's your bit of confidence, hope for the future for anyone listening?
Don't look for overnight success. Success, the formula is doing the right things consistently over a long period of time. Figure out your MMAs, money-making activities. Figure out your accountability partner that's going to keep your feet to the grindstone and just keep doing that stuff every single day. And over a long period of time, it's impossible for you not to be successful. Just keep at it. Find a way to stay motivated. Don't miss a day, because one day is 3 days to get back on. 1 week is a month to get back on. Don't take the summers off, because that is why people have slow winners. Just push every single day, use a good CRM, and just keep pushing.
I love it. You mentioned MMA, and it reminded me, I wanted to ask you about this boxing charity event. Let's tell me a little bit about that before we sign off.
Yeah, for sure. It's called the Real Estate Rumble. We have been doing this now. This is in our 12th year next year. And it's just exactly what it sounds like. It's just realtors
get in the ring and just fight.
Just fight. They've never had any experience for the most part. They raise money for underprivileged youths. And we've raised 300,000 plus for underage youth charities. We had an LA Rumble. We want to bring that back. We have the Detroit Rumble coming up in March. It's all about just getting our industry together. And guess what? Like, people love to punch each other in the face in our industry.
I was going to say, man,
it's the best commission dispute platform on the planet. Good stuff, but it's so much fun. If anybody's interested or wants to learn more information, I'm more than happy.
I can imagine so many markets where there's a handful of agents that would love to create this and just let it out in the ring. I've often said that I would love to just duke out differences in the ring and then just be done with it. Typically when that happens, by the way, because I fought in college, when you do that afterwards, no beef, feeling good, got it out.
Respect, man. It's good stuff. And it's like a backyard brawl. But these brokers, they get in the best shape of their lives. They raise all this money for charity. All their friends come. They feel like $1 million after it. It's been an amazing run and experience.
That's awesome.
The whole thing. So it's good to focus on one thing, charity based, because I got my tentacles out before, and I was like, let me just focus on one thing, and this was my one thing.
It's fantastic. Grigory Pekarsky, Vesta Real Estate in Chicago. Thanks for being on the show, man.
Remington Ramsey, thank you so much. Congratulations on the top 5%. Let's go.
Appreciate that. Yes, top 5% global podcast. Could not do it without you guys listening. So send it to your friends, especially those who are in real estate. If you want to impact who is on the show or what we talk about, email us at podcast@realproducersmag.com. We'll see you next time.